Hi everyone, you're welcome to another exciting episode of Hot Takes and Headlines. I'm your host, The Praise, and today on the show with me we have Salim. Salim, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, my name is Salim Mohammed Harper, the PZ Kage, the host on the PZ Speaks podcast, and now the co-host on the amazing Hot Takes podcast.
Okay, so let's dive right straight into the topic of today, and we are going to be talking about the concept of narcissism, like who is a narcissist. I'm very sure that a lot of us these days talk about narcissists in relationships. Why did you break up? Oh, he's a narcissist. Oh, she's a narcissist. And there's a saying that goes that if you're pointing one finger at someone, be rest assured that 4 is pointing back at you. So when you are quick to call someone a narcissist, are you sure that you are not Are you sure that you're not the one who is actually the narcissist?
Okay.
Yeah, so and I'm also very sure that a lot of us do not actually know the meaning of who a narcissist is. A narcissist is not just somebody who is bad or somebody who did not treat you right. And most times, if somebody doesn't treat you right, I am very sure that the person in question is the one who has the questionable character. But we'll get into all of that later. Sally, what's your take on who a narcissist is?
Okay, so before I explain who a narcissist is, I want to say that, just like you said, we need to be careful throwing labels around. A narcissist is someone who has entitled sense of self, inflated sense of self, and this obsessive love for themselves. So it's normal for us to want to preserve ourselves, to want to take care of ourselves and love ourselves. But when that love comes in the way of you having empathy for someone else, or other people's feelings, then that makes you a narcissist. And there are different forms of narcissism. Of course, you have, the ones that are born out of this grandiose sense of self, where you see yourself bigger than life, see yourself as somebody that, you are above everyone else, you are perfect, you are special. And then there's another kind which is born out of a heightened sense of vulnerability, where you feel like, by showing off yourself, you need other people's attention, need other people's care, and for them to treat you in a particular way without you meaning to give what you are taking. So you become a taker.
I like that, but I would like to say that I understand that narcissism has an aspect where you actually put yourself first. Putting yourself above all others, and it's part of what you said in your first definition, where you have a heightened sense of self. But I'm made to understand that man is naturally selfish. For instance, if a natural disaster occurs here or something happens, you find out that your first instinct is to run or to save yourself first. So in that case, are you going to say that you or maybe the person involved is a narcissist?
Okay, so this is the thing. It depends on if you are Nigerian or not. If you are in Nigeria,
what has Nigeria got to do with it?
I'm not. If you are in Nigeria, obviously, especially if you've spent enough time in the southwestern part of Nigeria, where you see people running and you just start running, you don't really know why they're running, because it's the idea you want to preserve yourself. You like your life, you don't want to die. I get it, but the real picture of it is that yes, we all human beings are first and foremost wired for self-preservation. So we want to preserve ourselves. That is perfectly
And that's
fine.
why even in the flights, they will tell you that you have a child and the disaster occurs, save yourself first.
Yeah, because if you don't save yourself, basically there's no one to save the child. If the child has oxygen and then you die or pass out or something, and the child needs something, then who's going to do that? The child can't start fixing, exactly. So the idea is, yes, you have to preserve yourself to take care of other people. And to some extent, I'll even say that the first way you show that you love someone else is by taking care of yourself for them, so that you can be around for them. Because if you don't take care of yourself, then there's a problem. However, where narcissism takes its own place is that it brings you to a point where not just preserving yourself now, you are doing so at the demise of other people. So you are preserving yourself, and you believe other people are also they owe it to you, they are obligated to preserve you. So their lives are of no consequence except to serve you or your motive, your interest. So that becomes a problem because you're not empathizing. Empathizing is different from sympathizing, where you're telling somebody sorry for something. Empathizing is putting yourself in their shoes. So the inability for you to put yourself in someone else's shoes when you are thinking about something, you can't even reflect on yourself and say, okay, maybe I was too harsh in saying that or acting that way. because you're only thinking about how it benefits you. There's no need for you to evaluate your own actions. So if you're that kind of person who operates without self-reflection about looking inward and saying, how did I act? How did I behave? How did it make this person feel? You're already exhibiting a sign of narcissism.
Okay, so this brings me to the topic of self-love. On social media now, everything that we get to see is self-love. Oh, I love myself, and just be happy as long as it makes you happy. I understand that the world is a messed up place right now, sorry to say. For instance, let's say in a case of feminism, sorry to bring this, I'm a feminist by the way, but that's not the topic of today. But then when you see a lot of women coming out to say, okay, yes, self-love, I love myself, I do me, I can't change for anybody. Sometimes these people have been through a lot. Sometimes these people have been through situations whereby they try to, should I say, be there for people. They try to be empathetic, try to put themselves in people's shoes, and it never really works. I think that is where this wave of self-love thing now comes into play. Self-love in itself is supposed to be healthy, but I think that right now everything is now moving to the extreme, where people are now thinking that, or maybe putting themselves on a pedestal in a place where they are now rating themselves higher than others, which is coming from a place of hurt. So are we now saying that this generation is rearing a new breed of narcissism, where everybody is a narcissist and nobody really now genuinely wants to care for the other?
Okay, so first of all, I want to start by making this disclaimer. I'm not a pastor, but I'm going to say that the first example we have on how to properly exhibit self-love and find a balance to it is when the Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. What does that mean? It means, first of all, you need to love yourself, right? But then you need to love your neighbor as yourself. That is empathy already.
But nobody really loves their neighbor as themselves.
So because the problem is that most people don't even know what loving themselves looks like. Yeah. Loving yourself doesn't mean stay the same. Loving yourself means I see where I am weak, where I am wrong, where I am deficient, and I love myself enough to put in effort. There's nothing that screams love as much as effort. So when you really talk about self-love, it doesn't stop. When you talk about love in its whole entirety, it shouldn't stop at, oh, I post a fine picture of myself, I take myself out to eat, I have whatever. No. It actually will now spill out to other people, such that when you see someone who is in your shoes, probably going through a hard time on social media, whatever, you don't go and bash them on their page because that's what happens.
That's what happens. So social media now is a toxic environment.
Yeah, so it's toxic because we have people preaching self-love and not really understanding that love in itself, when it's actually love, it wants to give, it wants to share, it wants to be kind, it wants to be generous, it wants to have long suffering. What is that? All of those things are things that come with you taking on another person's burden. Empathizing with somebody else. That is what is coming to balance everything. So if you say self-love, what you end up doing is you create this narcissistic tendency where social media is just a platform for people who have narcissistic tendencies to just come and display.
Exactly.
It's not really a place where people start talking about, oh, it's about my image, it's about how I look, it's about the likes, it's about the validation. So if there's no balance between loving your neighbor and yourself as yourself, then you are already, narcissism.
So what if I love my neighbor as myself and my neighbor does not love me as himself or herself?
So that's the good thing about it.
That's the world we live in.
I love the fact that the Bible does not say love your neighbor as yourself and they will love you back. So but at the same time,
but you can't keep loving and not getting it back in return.
Okay, so this is the beautiful thing about it. Again, I'm not a pastor, so I'm going to stop doing this. But I'm going to still say that at the end of the day, you need to be wise. Being wise is that in loving your neighbor, it doesn't say don't have boundaries.
Exactly.
It doesn't say, and this is the difficult part about love, because when you start out, you want to be, I want to be giving, all of my time, all of my energy, all of my everything. You get exhausted because someone said this thing one time, and the person said, let me try and remember this. He said, if you try to be El Shaddai, you too shall die. So I love it because it reminds me, whenever I remember that, I say, guy, you can't save everybody.
No matter
how much you want to love people, you want to do everything for people. When you realize that you're speaking English to them and they are responding in French, hey guys,
And sadly, that is the world that we live in today. So there is no love anymore in this world. And I dare say that there's so much hatred in this world that it now becomes like it's beneficial being a narcissist.
Okay, so this is the reason why I would say I disagree with that. The fact that it might be harder to feel genuine love, to interpret genuine love. I think the problem is not just that there is no love, it's the fact that we have a communication problem in the world generally. I'm not just talking about language, I'm talking about the fact that, somebody is telling you, I will hurt you, I will hurt you, I will hurt you. You are hearing, give him 1 week, you change. That's not the same thing. So in the same way, I would say that when it comes down to it, if you are looking for love, you are doing something wrong. You don't go out and look for it. You give it, or you give it wisely, with a sense of boundaries, with a sense of communicating your expectations. And then when you see that they are not being met, please realign your focus or your vision or your energy somewhere else that gives you that neutrality. I believe in neutrality. So in your friendships, for example, start from there. Start from your family. Start from people close to you before you start going somewhere far. Everybody's not going to like you. Everybody's not going to give you what you want. However, there are going to be those people that contribute to that. Because for the very fact that you can wake up every morning and go outside and go to work and come back and you're still in one piece, that tells you that there's love in the world. And I seriously believe that if you take love
for self in the world.
Yes, no, then apart from the love for self, there's love in the world. It's in people. It's everywhere. Just that people have a problem communicating it properly because a lot of people don't even take the time to self-reflect, self-analyze. Okay, where am I in my own personal love walk with myself, and where am I in my love walk with others? People don't have that conversation.
And I like where you said self-reflection, because I think that, if you go on social media and you see things like, I cannot change for anybody, this is me, take me as I am.
Mental illness.
Human beings, I believe that human beings do not change, basically. That's external change coming from outside, like me trying to change you, I can never change you. But the change coming from inside, that's the only real genuine change. So if you are now trying to say that you cannot change for somebody, it means you're not even ready to be a good or a better version of yourself. It means you just want to remain stagnant. So I don't believe in I can't change for anybody. You should not change for anybody, but you should change for yourself. You should change because it is good for you. So all that I cannot change for anybody, this is me, take me as I am. If you were to be in the other people's shoes, would you take yourself as you are? Which brings me back to what I first said. When I said that when you're pointing one finger at someone, four. Don't make me.
Guys,
4 fingers are facing back at you.
How do you point this one?
It's still facing you. It's not facing the other person. So yeah, basically the point is self-reflect.
Basically, don't point at people. This kind of
Thank you. That's just it in a nutshell. Don't point at people. Make sure that
if you must point,
your own.
do this. I want to do the other one, but that's like Hitler.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us, Jimmy. And I hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you did, kindly like, share, comment, and
let us know what you think about this topic in the comment section below.
See you next time. Bye.
Peace.